You can't character assassinate Satoshi Nakamoto. That was very intentional from the inception.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Taleb writes about that phenomenon, which he calls the minority rule. And I think the numbers were like 4% of people eat halal, right? They will only eat halal, yet 96% of the meats produced in that area are halal, because the other 96% of people don't actually have a strong preference. It's like, I could eat halal or not. So as long as the cost of creating halal versus non-halal is close enough, there's so much efficiency to be gained by just making all of it halal. And then, the majority doesn't care, the minority really does care. So there's this dynamic where the preferences of an intransigent minority can have outsized impact on the actual output, right, of the actual result. I think there's a lot of parallels there with Bitcoin too, right? If people just, as Bitcoiners, we intransigently want to hold hard money, it kind of forces the hand of other people over time. It's like they just want to store purchasing power. But it's like this small group of people figured it out and they're doing it better than you, then eventually you just kind of have to conform. I'm reminded too that the Churchill quote on the whole East-West, or the pro-democracy movements. Churchill said something like, democracy is the worst form of government except all of the others. And, maybe that was the idea that was being seeded, because the Berlin Wall was built in the middle of Germany to keep East Germans from moving west, right? It was like you were imprisoning them in communism, essentially, preventing them from moving towards democracy. And not that, democracy has its own issues. If anyone wants to go read Democracy, the God That Fell by Hoppe, he makes an argument that, there's trade-offs to any form of statism, but democracy and state capitalism is definitely better than communism. And so you saw people moving that direction. And it's interesting to think that it was those ideas, again, the spread of those ideas, people knew that there was a brighter place out there, a brighter future potentially for them, such that they were willing to scale this wall and risk life and limb just to escape a worse form of governance, which is communism. And this idea of the anonymity, right, feeding the decentralized movement, because it's no longer, you're not pinning it to a person. It's not like people are following one guy necessarily. So when Satoshi disappears, what do Bitcoiners say? Like, we are all Satoshi, right?